All right, shalom everybody, and peace of the Lord to all of you. I hope my voice coming good and clear from your side. Um, you know, I'm lucky. I'm going to make $100,000 in 30 seconds. I know many of you will be jealous. I feel sorry for you. But I'm teaching you how to do it. All right. So a Muslim, he made a challenge. And now for sure this challenge is very difficult. We have to admit. It's extremely difficult. Janvior, he said, here is a challenge to every non-Muslim in the world. So all of you are invited to make mine. All of you. This is better than Bitcoin or whatever. All right? Find one verse in the Quran. Any verse. Look at it, guys. Look at the details. One verse in the Quran. Any verse. I mean, that's deep. I'm shocked. That's really somebody is making a challenge nobody can beat. To prove it to be false to an audience. If you do so correctly, and let us hear correctly, disclaimer, correctly, I will personally give you $100,000. I bet you have even $100 in your pocket. Mostly you are a Muslim refugee in welfare. This challenge stands until I take my last breath. You remind me of Mohammed. The last breath he took when he pissed in the dish and he died right away on the lap of Aisha. Oh boy. The Jewish woman, she killed him by poison from Walmart. Very cheap, 5 cents. At that time, Walmart was cheap, like 5 cents, a lot of money, by the way. So how we can take such a challenge from this guy, G. Vigneault, which means that's deep. I don't know. I'm going to ask some Muslims to help me. Go, Yasser Qadhi.
So if somebody were to say, how can we believe these ahadith when Google Earth has mapped the whole world? We can zoom in and see everything around us, and there is no massive land hidden from mankind. The response is, Wallahu ala kulli shay'in qadir. Allahu a'lam.
Allah knows best better. But sister, I told you one time, anything looks stupid in the Quran, say Allah knows best. Who is more stupid than Allah? Then think about it. Allah knows best. That will serve you and will make you feel like you're asleep. Take a drugs. The second you find something so stupid, just say Allah knows best, because Allah knows best anyway. So Google wipe all the earth. We can zoom in. Listen. Zoom in. And after we zoom in, what we found? Zoom with me.
If we believe in the ahadith, this is what the ahadith tell us.
If we believe what Muhammad says, this is the donkey Muhammad stories. Sorry, sorry, disclaimer, Muhammad is a donkey. If you believe in the donkey stories, this is what the donkey said. Just Christian Prince. First of all, I am going to report you to YouTube. Why Zakir Naik? Because you said the Prophet Muhammad is donkey. Donkey is smarter. Let me tell you a story. Once I was in a village in the mountains, and the villager there, he said, we were a bunch of teenage. He said, take the donkey with you. We said to him, why? He said, when you want to go home back, you will lose your way. It's mountains. Just let the donkey in the front of you free and follow the donkey. And guess what? We followed the donkey. He took us home. You follow Muhammad, he don't take you home. He take you to hell. A donkey is better. Thank you, Zakir Naik, for reminding me not to insult donkeys. Go.
This is what the ahadith tell us. And there's a simple rule that Ibn Taymiyyah mentions. Memorize this rule.
Ibn Taymiyyah mentioned, their God is Ibn Taymiyyah, not the Quran, not Muhammad. Simple rules. Okay, what the simple rules of Ibn Taymiyyah?
The Quran and Sunnah does not bring the impossible.
No, it does not bring the impossible. What it does bring?
But it does bring that which astounds the mind.
Unbelievable. The parrot of the Caribbean. They could not answer the stupidity of the Quran. This is outstand the mind. Do you have even a mind? But this guy, he went and he listened to Christian Prince for some time, watching his videos. So Yasser Qadhi, a few years after watching my videos, he changed his mind.
Is it impossible that somewhere underground Allah has thousands of people living? It's not impossible.
It's not impossible. Look at Hezbollah and Hamas. I mean, Abdul, what's thousands? Supposedly those are billions, trillions of. From every one of us, there is 1,000 of them at the time of Muhammad. According to Muhammad, each one of them, before he died, he make 1,000 baby when we make one baby. What thousands? Is it impossible? It's not impossible. You know? Say it again. Okay.
Impossible. It's not impossible. It's not surprising that our medieval
This is after he watched my videos.
scholars believe this type of stuff. Obviously, dare I say, anybody who knows science and geography and modern civilization,
And Christian Prince.
you cannot believe that there is a tribe for 4,000 years trapped behind
What? Is that before the vaccine or after the vaccine? ChatGPT, what happened to Yasser Qadhi? Christian Prince, first of all, Yasser Qadhi present himself. He is stupid and he is not even a Muslim. Exactly, Yasser Qadhi, this guy is a sheikh. What are you? Mimi Hijab, he called him a sheikh. He called him Ustad. He say, I'm a student of you. Mimi Hijab, he have high school from Harvard. And he have degrees in secret wife, you know. What's wrong with you? Christian Prince, first of all, Yasser Qadhi is not even a Muslim. In fact, that guy is an AI. He is not real. Do you see the Muslims are watching the video? This is in the mosque. What's wrong with you? Christian Prince, these days they can make AI for everybody. I know, you are right. But this is not an AI. This is a spank to Muhammad Butt. Shut up.
behind a wall. I mean, if you believe this, that's your position. I cannot believe. I cannot believe. I cannot. I find this very difficult to believe. Is it impossible that somewhere underground Allah has thousands of people living? It's not impossible. It's not impossible. They're in some place separated from mankind.
But hold on, the rescue is coming. Leave Dawah. By the way, what is this here? Statues? Be careful. Muslim women, they can use it as a sex toy. I can show you the reference. Don't challenge me. Don't even think about it. This can be used as sex toy. From your books. And this one too. I mean, if she is looking for something bigger. By the way, I'm not making things up. I can show you the reference. Everything Christian Prince, he say. Any Muslim, he want to challenge me, and I will show you the reference. Never enter those things to your house, brother. Muslim women are desperate. Muslim men are frustrated. Even Muhammad, the prophet of Allah, his penis was not working according to the hadith, and then he said, I was the most weak person between all mankind in effing. And then I invoke Allah. Oh Allah, please Allah, my penis. It's not working. I played the anthem. I played symphony. I played Beethoven. I played everything. Never stand up. Even with the anthem, no respect. I was not standing up. Can you do something, Allah? Please, please, please. And then Allah, he sent him a dish of shish kebab. Am I lying, Muslims? He put some spice, some salt, some hummus, mix it together. He sent it to Muhammad. As he is eating, brothers and sisters, the mercury start working. His penis start like, ooh, 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 ooh. Aisha, wow, what happened? You know? She said, this is the fertilizer of Allah. Let us do it. And then Muhammad, he says, and each time I want to have sex, I invoke Allah, and Allah send it to me in within 20 minutes. That is the action of a true God. And the Quran says, if Allah wants something, he say be is going to be. But he could not fix the Muhammad penis by saying be. You have to use shish kebab. Anyway, we know the chapter of the cow in the Quran called the cow because Allah, he says, he resurrect people from death by beating them by beef. So the power of beef are proven everywhere for your penis and even for resurrection. Hey, read that. We go back to the topic of Gog and Magog. Brother, hit back, refute Yasser Qadhi.
And what I don't understand is this. Why do we have to understand everything in the context?
You stupid people, you donkeys. Why you have to understand everything? What's wrong with you? Aren't you ashamed of yourself? Why we have to understand everything? But those are the Muslims, they say, how you claim that Jesus is God, but he is born of a woman? Okay, how women, she gave birth without a man? They go mute. How you believe in the Trinity when this is mean that God cannot enter inside his creation? Your God cannot, my God can. You are stupid. Your God is limited, my God is not. My Bible says nothing is impossible with God. Your God says he cannot have a son unless he have a girlfriend. And the fat boy, the short boy, you know, he said the reason Allah cannot begotten a son because the son have to go through a process. But everything Allah created is going through process. I mean, this is how stupid those people are. Stupidity is amazing. You know? Mean. Allah made me rich. Oh boy. All right. Yeah, this is what this kid, what's his name? Muslim Fartazox? Fartazox. The Fartazox Muslim, he says, God cannot begotten a son because that will go through process. But everything in Islam go through process. Allah took him 4 days just to finish what is in the top of the earth. 2 days to create the earth. 40 years just to dry Adam. I mean, just put him in the sun for 5 minutes, man, in Saudi Arabia, he'll be dry. 40 years, at that time the sun was not hot, man. And there is no dryer, you know, machine. I don't know. And Allah could not fart, you know, because his fart, I believe, it's flammable and it's very hot. Anyway, Dawah, why we have to understand everything? Shall we answer Muslims about everything they say? The same answer?
Understand everything in the context where, why does it always have to be logical?
Stupid people. Stupid people. But those are the people, they say it's not logical. Christianity is not logical. You see how scumbag they are? You know, the Muslim is the same as a whore. This is the video we have, is still open from yesterday. The same as a whore. She claimed that she is a virgin. And all what we need to do to prove that they are not only virgins, they are a screen door full of holes. To put them in the bathtub and put a lot of shampoo before you put them there. And the bubbles will come out from everywhere. Bubble, bubble, bubble. Bubble. A bunch of whores. Why we have to understand anything? Why have to be logical? You stupid people. But in everything, when they try to fight Christianity, they right away speak about philosophy. There is 2 people, they were sleeping. One is snoring and one is farting. How you know which one is the one doing it? Very easy. If he is a Muslim, it's impossible to know if he is the one who's farting or not, because he smells all the time. If he's a Christian, it's very easy. Smell him, we will get him busted. So easy. I mean, you Muslim, you smell. Your Quran is smell. Actually, yesterday we showed you the hadith where the Muslims accuse Muhammad and his donkey that he smelled bad, and then they start fighting with each other, throwing shoes. It's called the war of Al-Ni'al, which means the war of shoes. The first fight of Muhammad. It was women fight, shoes. May Allah curse you. I cannot make the voice of a woman, sorry. I need Dawah, he can do better. Lily, go ahead.
Why does it have to be something where we're like, oh, explain it to me logically, or, you know, I'm going to start doubting things? This is exactly why Shaitan fell into disbelief. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him to do something, bow down to Adam, he couldn't comprehend logically.
Stupid Adam. Shaitan could not comprehend. Allah told the angels to bow down. You see this guy, he challenged us to show, I mean, we have tons of topic now. We finished the debate. Allah, he command the angels to bow down to Adam. He get angry from Shaitan. I command all the cats to say meow, except the dog, he says ow. Ow. Allah got upset. He said, why didn't say meow? I say, Allah stupid. I am not a cat. So Allah, what I are typing in English? Allah command the angels to bow down to Adam. And by the way, the Muslims are not kuffar. They are commanded to bow down only to Allah, brother. Only to Allah. When the first person of them who command to bow down to none person who is not God is Allah. It's in front of you. وَإِذْ قُلْنَا لِلْمَلَائِكَ اسْجُدُوا لِآدَمَ فَسَجَدُوا إِلَّا إِبْلِيسَ أَبَى وَاسْتَكْبَرَ وَكَانَ مِنَ الْكَافِرِينَ. We commanded the angels to bow down. You stupid idiot. But the angels and the jinns are two different kinds in Islam. Shaitan is one of the jinn. He is not an angel. So you commanded the angels. Why you are upset from the genie? Shall I get my first $100,000? Do you see how stupid the Quran? Allah commanded the angels to bow down. He get upset from who? From the genie. Shaitan in Islam is a genie. Don't, you know, some people here, they mix between Christianity and the stupid Muhammad. Don't be stupid. First, in Christianity, we don't have genie. This is fictions, this is legions. Genie in the ball. In different verse in the Quran, the genie, there's many kind of genie, but all of them, they are genie. Like as an example, there's a genie whose name is Afrit. This Afrit, his specialty is to steal furniture. And the Muslim Solomon, he liked the chair of this queen. So he told his Muslim friends, the genie friends, Muslims, as long we are Muslims and we are a bunch of thieves who want to go and steal her chair. What a decent religion, man. The genie, very strong genie, as you see, very strong, powerful. This is a very powerful genie. I mean, you cannot find a genie like this except in the genie world. You know, like I don't know. You guys, you don't know what you are talking about. You will never know what I'm talking about until you meet me. Just kidding. This is the genie, and he is blue. And this is Suleiman was there. Oh, Prophet Solomon, do you like me to steal the chair? We Muslims are the best thieves in the world. We steal the land of Israel, and we claim it's our land. We steal the land of the Iraqi from the Babylon and the Chaldean, and we claim it's our land. We steal the land from the Persian, and we claim it's our land. We steal the land of Spain, and we claim it's our land. We stole the land of Morocco, and we claim it's our land. We took the land of Egypt from the Coptic, and we claim it's our land. And by the way, Islam is against colony. Not like those Jewish settlers. They are coming to the land. It's not their land. When the Quran says that this is their land in chapter 5, verse 21. But anyway, this is not our topic. Why change the topic? Go back. So this is what this potato is speaking about. Allah command the angels to bow down to Adam, which is stupid, because the angels, they said Adam would do mischievement, and they were right. Allah claimed, no, you are wrong. Allah in the Quran, He claimed that the angels are stupid. They don't know what they are talking about. And by the way, Allah here, He did a very nice trick, very smart, super smart. When the angels, they said to Him, are you going to create somebody will do mischievement in the earth like Christian Prince? Huh? And he will shed the blood of Muhammad? Allah got upset. He got irritated. He farted, he snore, he sneeze, and he attack. Will you place therein those who will make mischief therein and shed blood? While we glorify you? Oh, the angels are jealous. Okay. So Allah, He got upset. He said to them, you stupid idiot donkeys, I know what you know not. And then Allah wanted to prove to them that He knew everything. So He brought a cat and a dog and a donkey and a cow. The cat called it Susu. The donkey called it Muhammad. The dog called it the father of Muhammad. The cow, the camel, let us add camel. He called it Shushu. And then He placed those things in the front of the angels. He want to show them that He know everything. He told them, can you tell me the names of those things? You claim that Adam would do mischievement, huh? You know the future, you donkeys? Okay, tell me the names of those animals. The angels of Allah, they are Muslims, stupid, you know. They said, you know, we cannot tell the names. How we will know the names of those things? It's impossible. So, and He said to them, if you cannot tell me the names, you are a liar. If you are truthful, the opposite is what? Liar. If they could not then tell the name, that means they are liars. So the Quran accusing the angels of Allah who delivered the Quran to be liars, which means Jibreel, the one who gave you the Quran, is a big fat liar. So how you can trust him to receive Quran? If Allah Himself confirmed that all His angels are a bunch of liars. Liar, liar. You are. What a potato. We continue. The angels, they say to him, oh, we give up, Allah. No way, we cannot tell you the names of the donkey and Shushu and Susu and Fufu and Juju. No way. Those are impossible. Have you ever heard of a stupid trick? If Allah want to prove to them that He knew the future, should be the opposite. He should ask them to name those things by themselves without training Him and ask Him what is the names, not the opposite. If I call my cow Cuckoo and then I ask you, what is the name of my cow? Oh, I don't know, Siri. Okay, now I'm going to show you I'm God. My cow name is Cuckoo. You Muslims are a bunch of cuckoo, don't you know, huh? This is how Allah, He proved that He have knowledge. Stupid donkeys. It should be the opposite. You tell them, okay, go behind the doors and give names for those things, and don't tell me. Don't even say it. Don't even move your lips in your head, huh? And I will tell you what's in your head. That will be proof that Allah have a power. But you tell the name, you name the names, and then you ask them for the names, and now they could not give the names, and now you says if you prove that you know the future. What a donkey. I just made $200,000. We continue. So Allah, He told them to tell the names. He taught the name to Adam. He want to get them busted by Adam himself. Adam, tell them the name I taught you. He starts saying shish kebab, hummus, Muhammad, karabu, jarabu, darabu, gadarbu, Muhammad, darabu, tarara. So Muhammad, he been spanked, and now the Adam, he is Muslim. He's a good Muslim. He get them busted the angels. So now, man, the defeat of the angels by Allah and the help of Adam. And then Allah decide to punish them for they are wrong that Adam will do mischievement. So He told them, bow down. Bow down, bow down. What the heck? Allah command the angels, as you see, to bow down. Not the shaitan. And then Allah says to the shaitan, why you did not bow down, you idiot? This is how stupid the story. Shaitan should say to him, you stupid, I am not an angel. You said angels. You donkey, you said angels. I am not an angel. And guess what? Few verses after, Adam did mischievement, and Allah kicked him out of heaven. Which means the angels were right, and Allah is wrong. I just made the $300,000. Shall we continue? We go back to the Dawah. Man, I will become a millionaire before I finish today.
Comprehend logically why he had to do that when he feels like he's better than him. The problem is this: taking the aql over the naql. That is it.
Taking the brain over the what people pass to us, stories of fairy tales. You see the hypocrisy, the cowards. So what he is talking about Gog and Magog.
Exactly our problem, and we apply this into our day-to-day life. I have to understand this logically. Who do you think you are?
You stupid Muslims. You stupid Muslim who you think you are. You donkeys. Shame on you. You are a good Muslim if you don't understand. You are a perfect Muslim if you are an idiot. You are trying to understand. Are you stupid? Who you think you are? Huh? Say it again, Dawah.
What problem? And we apply this into our day-to-day life. I have to understand this logically. Who do you think you are? I mean, how arrogant you must be to say, I need to know everything.
Subhanallah, Subhanallah. What a shitty religion. Muhammad shit upon him. He brought us legions full of shit and garbage. Alexander the Great, he found where the sun set in murky water. And that water is boiling. Boiling, boiling, boiling. In India, the word boiling comes as the following. Tingling, 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 tingling. That's amazing, by the way. He found the sun set in a boiling, tingling, tingling water. And then the Muslim, they try to fix it. Right? They try to fix the poo of Muhammad, which is coming from a Syriac legend story, actually. It's a story written for the purpose of entertainment about a real person, his name Alexander the Great. In order to fix the stupid Quran, they say, listen, brother, here in the verse, what the Quran is saying, it appeared to Zulkarnain. It appeared to him. Okay, hold on. You Muslim, you claim the Quran is a perfect language, Arabic, but yet you do not know Arabic. But I will go with that, no problem. It says here, حتى إذا بلغ مغرب الشمس وجدها تغرب في عين حامئة. Enter, he reached the sitting place of the sun. He found it sitting in a spring of a black, muddy, boiling water. So where is the word appear? Why Allah did not appear with the word appear? Stupid Allah. He forgot. Me. This is why the Quran says in some verses the following. Allah will make Quran better than the Quran. That's deep. That's so deep. Look at Allah. Allah, he says nobody can make the Quran better than Allah. And nobody can make Quran better than the Quran. But Allah himself, and nobody can forget the Quran. We Muslim brother and sister, we read the Quran in our heart. Okay? But Allah says, Allah will cause you to forget the Quran. And not only that, Allah will abrogate the Quran. What does that mean? Oh, hold on, let me explain to you. He will bring something better or similar. Like, what the heck? That's so deep. Allah will bring Quran better than the Quran, or similar. So if it is similar, why you want to delete it? Oh, Muhammad, I make poo-poo. You know, smell bad. I will make something. I will eat better food, and my poo-poo will smell different. What a stupid God! He will cause you to forget the Quran. Why he want to erase all the evidence of stupidity? I thought the Quran preserved So what this verse is saying? Brother, do you remember the Quran saying, oh, I forgot. I think Allah caused me to forget the Quran. Yeah, Allah, He caused the Quran to be forgotten. Even Muhammad, he forget the Quran. Do you know that? Muhammad himself, he forget the Quran. Let me show you. Because you might say, it doesn't say that, CP. Even though the Quran promised Muhammad that he will never forget the Quran. Right? Let us show you and love together. By the way, I will try to make my video shorter so we can go maybe more than one time, but not stay for too many hours. Oh, look how beautiful this story here. Even the prophet, he forget the Quran. Look at the title. Forgetting the Quran. I forgot such and such verse and such chapter, not only verse. By the way, I like the Islamic religion. Like you will see the Muslim books is full of such and such. That's a different topic. We can call it such and such Quran and such hadith. And the Prophet says such and such, which is very clear. I mean, amazing. Like, listen, I will tell you how to make recipe of making shish kebab. Or let us say, not to say the name of the dish. You bring from the store such and such, and you put with it such and such, and then you cut it such and such first, and then you add such and such, and don't forget to add such to such. And then when you mix such and such, don't forget to turn on such and make it in a lower such. And then you put it in a such, and then you start, you know, moving the such to mix it up so you will not be burning. And that such will take such and such and time. And then after such and such, when you see the color like such and such, that color will tell you that means it's ready to eat. So take it and enjoy such and such dish. That is a story told by such and such prophet. Peace be upon him. So the Messenger of Allah heard a man reciting the Quran. As he said, may Allah bestow His mercy on him, as he remind me of such and such verses and such surahs. Muhammad, he forgot surahs, not only verses, which I caused to forget. But the Quran says, سَنُقْرُؤُكَ فَلَا تَنْسَى. What? فَلَا تَنْسَى or فَلَا تَفْسَى? فَلَا تَنْسَى. The Quran says, Muhammad will read Quran, will never forget Quran. Fabrication. You shall not forget it, Abdul. Allah will protect you. How many $100 million already I made? What's wrong with people? Guys, I'm rich already. Remember, we are not even going a verse in the Quran. We just play a video, we go with it. You see, we are not going only in one place. Like whatever the Muslim they say, we go with it. I did not pick up my verses, they pick up for me. Potato. Anyway, what's wrong with you? Until now you prove nothing. Do you think you really can prove the Quran wrong? Are you stupid or what? Don't you know that this is impossible? It's proven scientifically that the sun set in a murky boiling water, and then the Muslim scholars who came long after Muhammad, they start trying to fix it. Oh, he meant when you go to the ocean. When you go to the ocean, you see the sun going inside the ocean, but this is an appearance. This is what the Quran is saying. Abdul, first of all, doesn't say it appear. It says He found it. Do you know what found it mean? It's a fact. And not only he found it, he found the sitting place of the sun. I do not need to go anywhere. The sun set everywhere. Zakir, do the sun set in your country? Get some breath. I am, first of all, I don't know when the sun rise and when the sun set. Why? Because I'm hiding in the tunnel. Because the Indian police looking for me. The Indian police looking for you. You can bribe them with some curry. Go check the sun. Are you the same as Al-Khamenei now is hiding under the Hamas? What's wrong with you Muslims? All of you are under the ground. A bunch of rats. So they tried to fix it, but then we got them busted from Muhammad himself. Muhammad, he explained this verse. Hey Muhammad, can you help me please? No. Please Muhammad. No. Come on. No. Muhammad, I will fix your penis. Okay. I know, you hate me, I know, it's okay. Too much hate will kill you, Abdul. What you can do about it? Your prophet is my joke. Come to me. I was sitting behind the messenger of Allah, for sure. Never make such a mistake. Never sit in front of Muhammad. According to reference, he is a gay. That is a no-no. Abu Dhar, you did the right thing. By the way, his name is the father of the ants. Unbelievable. Even ants have father. No problem, no problem. Remember the ants in the Quran, they talk, which is the legion of the Jews. You can go right now and search in Google, legions of the Jews. The ant talking to Suleiman. You will find the story there. And by the way, ants don't talk. Ants communicate by chemical and vibration. So how Suleiman he heard her speech, as the Quran said. But this is a different story. Come on, I want to make more money. Come on. Here we go. I passed $1 million. I was sitting behind the Messenger of Allah who was riding the donkey. What do you mean he was riding the donkey, you liar? I heard that black people, they were riding him. Is that true? CP, it doesn't say that CP. So who is Azut? Azut are okay, I have to go to do shopping. Okay, my 4 wives are waiting for me. Hold on. The answer about the Zut, you know, this potato, he said, we Christians are a cross liquor. Are you sure? Yes, yes, you are a cross liquor. Black stone kisser. You forgot who you are. Where is his picture? Huh? Do you remember this guy? He came. They are the one who believe if you kiss a black stone, it erases your sin. I went to a Muslim web chat once, and actually I made the video about it live. I was recording the chat. I asked him, I have a question about Prophet Muhammad. He said, sure, you know. I said, why Prophet Muhammad kissed the black stone? Took them 5 minutes to answer, and then they said, because it's holy. So I asked right away, and why it's holy? Took them another maybe 7-8 minutes to answer, and they said, because he kissed it. This guy, he said to me, he have a holy prophet, and they have a holy stone, and this is stone erase your sin. Take a beer. The religion who they are not pagan, but yet you kiss a stone, it erase your sin. Unbelievable. Isn't it? This is amazing. Listen, the Christians, they worship Jesus. They are pagan. They associate somebody with God. But kissing stones and believing that stones erase their sin is godly. This is Muhammad making poo-poo. And don't tell me this is a da'if. As I see, this is authentic. I can show you more reference. Oh, Abu Abdul Rahman, why do I only see you touching those two corners? Shouldn't we Muslims touch little girls? Isn't it this is what the Prophet taught us? You touch little girls only. Why you are touching the two stones, the two corners, the black stone and the Yemeni corner? He said, oh, I heard the messenger of Allah saying, touching them erase sin. Me. I heard him saying, whoever go around them, sargam, 7 times. Look, the 7th time. If you do it 6 times, you are mistaken. You kiss it, touch it, look it, and then you go around it. It's like freeing a slave. So now Muhammad, because he is a slave owner, he don't want to free slaves. So he gave them a solution. Don't free slaves. Go around the stone. The Arab before Islam, they used to free slave when they think something wrong. They feel guilty. So what they do? They free a slave. Look at the trick Muhammad he came with. He said, you stupid, don't free the slaves. Just go around the Kaaba. Kiss the black stone. You can imagine how Muslim he kiss. Unbelievable. You know, like the Afrit. You know the Afrit when he kiss? The Afrit, you forgot what the Afrit looked like. What's wrong with you? You people have dementia like Muhammad? Afrit, here we go. You know? And they say to us, I challenge everybody to find mistakes. Anything does not make sense to the audience. It makes sense if we kiss a black stone made in the shape of a vagina to erase our sin, because it's a vagina. Are you kidding me? A vagina can suck everything. Sin, anything. I mean, you can. I don't want to go in details. Most of you are young, not like me. I'm 6 years old in the age of Aisha, and I'm very mature. $100,000, you donkey. Are you sure? I did not even say anything yet. I did not even go to Gog and Magog story. Me. Oh boy. Guys, why you are laughing? I will tell you a true story, by the way. I'm warning you. Once, this true story, by the way. We Arab, we don't have witnesses for any story because it's true. I'm telling you. And by the way, we are the only nation in the world, the Arab and the Muslims. We claim victory even if somebody wiped the floor with us. Like the Muslim, they come, we debate them, you've been baked. You've been baked, you've been cooked, you are finished, boy. They say the same to Israel. Nasrallah is gone, Hezbollah is gone, Hamas is gone, Al-Khomeini is gone, the Iran is all must be shish kebab. Victory, takbir, we defeated the Zionist, Allahu Akbar. America ran away from Afghanistan. You stupid, they announced they will leave 4 years before. 4 years before they left, they even announced the day. You kicked them. And when they left, there is only 2,000 Marines. 2,000 Marines ruling Afghanistan in the size of Europe. 2,000 Marines. And then they claim victory. They claim victory, doesn't matter. When I was a kid, they were celebrating the day. Said, today is a great day, we celebrate. I said, sir, what happened today? The teacher answered, said, today we lost Jerusalem. Today what? Today we lost Jerusalem? And we're celebrating? Yes, brother, victory from Allah. Oh, look, you just said we lost Jerusalem. How you are celebrating losing Jerusalem? He said, shut up. Just you are always troublemaker. What's your name again? No, don't tell me your name. Don't tell me, because I'm going to force myself to forget. Don't tell me. And then each time I put my hand up, every one of those stupid teachers, Muslim teachers, I put my hand. He said, not you, not you, not you. No. Even when I went to university, not you. No. No, no, I'm not listening. He put his hand, his fingers in his ear. I'm not listening. He looked like a monkey, you know. Not you. Actually, not you. If you think about it, just take the O and make it you. Not you. Unbelievable what Christian Prince did to them when he was even a kid. Stupid people. They celebrate everything. Victory when they lose. And that will remind me, by the way, another story in the Quran, when Muhammad, he promised the Muslim victory, and he told them 100 of you will defeat 1,000. What? Yes, yes, 100 of you can defeat 1,000. Okay. The Muslim, they went to war. We lost the war. You told us 100 will defeat 1,000, you know. Muhammad now, he made poo. He decided to fix it. He said, okay, listen. Now, Allah has, look at the fast translation. Allah has lightening your task. Okay. For he knows, what knows? It says alima in the past. He just found, he says, now he lost in your task, and he now found out, which means immediately, but now, it's past still, but now he found out that you cannot make it. Isn't you who promised them? So now from 100 will fight 1,000 to 1 will fight 2. I mean, do you see, guys, the error in the calculation? Allah, he promised them 100 can kill 1,000. The Muslim went to war, they found Allah is an idiot. There's no way I mean, how in the world one can fight and kill 10? That can happen only in American movie. By the way, do you know the guy, his name is Bruce Lee? His real name is, they call him now Bruce Lee, but his real name is Bruce Lee. Because me, once, and him, we fought. He brought all the Chinese with him. A lot of the Chinese. I mean, China is full of Chinese, by the way. Trust me. You know? He brought all the Chinese. And they stood in front, I don't know, I don't remember how many. I think the 10 million? I forgot. You know, it's a big number. I cannot even count. Chinese, and I don't know, like, which one was one. You know, they are all look Chinese. So, you know. So I said to myself, okay, which one of you is Bruce Lee? At that time, they called him Lee, by the way. Which one of you is Lee? Everybody with his hand up. I said, oh no. How I want to know which one of them is their hero? I said, I mean the Lee, the guy in the movie, you know, like the guy in the movie. And they said, all of them, they point their finger at him. The guy is Lee. Even though all of them, their name is Lee. So I said, okay, let us fight. And I start beating the hell of him, beating him, until I left his body covered by bruise. Since then, they call him Bruce Lee. You know? By the time they tried to fix it, you know, they said Bruce Lee. But his real name is, but yeah, this is true story, you know. Don't ask me for witnesses, because we are Arab, and we have no witnesses for anything, you know. And the story is very clear. Allah knows best what I'm talking about. Shall I finish here? What a stupid religion. And the guy, he is saying to us, excellence, if you can find, if you can prove any false to an audience, I will give you, if you do so correctly, for sure the Muslim, he will say you are wrong. You know, I mean, we know, you're Abdul, a bunch of fools. Do you know even what the difference between wrong and right? According to you, drinking wine is wrong. Drinking the piss of Muhammad is right. And by the way, I have a question for this potato. I will use, by the way, his image Always, not because he's, but I noticed that a lot of young Muslims coming to my page because of him. I will ask him, and I challenge him to make a video. When the Prophet, he promised the women who drank his piss, she will go to heaven. You said to me, Muhammad is holy. What about his piss? You drink the holy Prophet, holy piss, and you go to heaven? That's so good. You know, guys, people, they lie about Allah and His Messenger, and we are here to get them busted. It's proven scientifically that the piss of the Prophet is holy. Some that might say to you, no, don't listen to them. They lie. They always lie. I mean, what you expect from those Christians are jealous. All right. Where is the hadith about the women drinking the piss of the Prophet? The holy piss. Sorry, Muslims, I apologize. Don't kill me, please. As you know, here we speak science. Every Muslim is a person of science. The benefit of drinking the blessed urine of our holy Prophet. The holy Prophet, not only he is holy, even his shit is holy. Don't you know that if you are a holy Prophet, your piss is holy, your shit is holy, your boogers is holy? We have reference that Muslims fighting over his boogers, over his snot, over his laundry. They could not eat his shit because according to the hadith, the earth did not leave anything. Aisha, she said, oh Prophet of Allah, how come when I come after you to the bathroom, I don't find your shit? He said to her, don't you know? Don't you know that I'm holy? My shit is holy. My fart is holy. Don't you know that the word holy shit is inspired by my shit? How dare you to have a doubt? How dare you? Now it's proven scientifically that Muhammad's shit is holy, and the only issue that the earth swallow his shit, so we have nothing left over to put it in eBay to sell it for Muslims by billions of dollars. Imagine if I have 1 kilo of the shit of Muhammad, just 1 gram. How many Muslims will pay everything they have to get little tiny of the gram? This little kid, he came to me, says Muhammad is holy. He's a holy figure. They don't worship him, by the way, but they drink his shit, and his piss will take you to heaven. And here the story continue. Speaking about a woman, she drank the shit. Piss, urine is a shit. It's just a liquid shit, As you know, I mean, it's just a shit. It's just a liquid part of it. So your body extract the solid one to an area and the liquid one to a different area. God, the creation, amazing. So And this is authentic transmission, brother. This is authentic. This is very authentic. Extremely authentic, brother. That the women, she's a slave, by the way. Muhammad don't own slaves. No, 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 no. He have only thousands of them. But Muhammad was a poor man. He can't even feed himself. But he have a lot of slaves. I mean, look how poor he is. Like, hold on. If I have somebody want to work for me as a slave, as a maid, let us say maid, and I have to supply her food and salary. Oh, forget about salary, she's a slave. No salary, just food. How I can be poor, so poor, but I can have many slaves to serve me? What my wife is doing, what Aisha is doing at home, she opened her legs, this is her job. And the slaves, they clean. The slave, they cook. The slave, yeah, they are poor people, they are poor. And Muhammad is a human right figure, not only holy figure. So this woman, she came to the room. Muhammad, he used to piss in a dish and he put it under his bed. You can imagine how the room smell. Perfume. Perfume. He don't piss out. He just put it under his head. Okay. So he used to urinate, and he used to place it under the bed. It's in front of you. I'm not the one saying that, you know. One night, one dark night, he reached for it, but he did not find it. He asked for it, saying, "Where is my shit? Where is the bowl?" The members of the house, the slaves, Barra, the slave girl of Salama, that means he was in the house of his wife Salama, drank it. Barra had come with Salama from Habasha. She is a Ethiopian slave, black slave, as usual. Black. Remember, Islam is against slaving blacks. No. So the Prophet, he said to her, surely she has protected herself from the fire with the Great Wall. You know, I thought the Great Wall is the only one exist in China. The Chinese, they wasted their life for centuries building the Great Wall. It turned to be what? Prophet Muhammad can make it happen in a second. In a second. He just needs to urinate. There's different hadith, by the way, it says, hell will never touch her. And as you know, this is very authentic hadith. Unbelievable. Man. The one who built the Great Wall by his piss. His urine, as some of our wise men say, is the water of paradise. Take a beer. You know, honest to God, I did read those stories a billion times, but each time I read them as if I read them first time. I laugh, I explode laughing. I mean, when I say stupidity is amazing, it is amazing. And they say to you, they don't worship Muhammad. His piss upon him, is the water of paradise. This is what the wise man said. So what the foolish man will say? The wise man, listen carefully, brothers and sisters, don't take me wrong. This is a statement of a wise man, not a donkey. This is the wise Muslim. Don't take me wrong. Don't be stupid. A wise man. And then if you click at the link here, you will see the story of the wise man. Mean, oh man. The title, The Prophet Urine. What the name of it? What is the name of the book? The Prophet Urine. What amazing. I wish I was his urine. A little short fat boy, do you wish to be the urine of Prophet Muhammad? You said he's holy. I mean, come on, face it. You have to deal what you just said. You are the one who came with this, and we will use you and abuse you. We will make you a joke. You see those potatoes, they want to debate about the Bible because they don't dare to talk about Islam, because Islam is a shit. So let us debate about the Bible. You know, the word father is abrogated. They are busy with the word father abrogated, and the Quran is full of shit. Hypocrite, coward, businessman, muta. Their religion allowed them to rent women, and they speak about dignity and decency. Our women, she wear hijab, but she rent her vagina. So this guy here, he's a sheikh. During the Mawlid gathering in London, look what London have these days. Look what London have these days. The man, the wise man, the Muslims in London, they said, we wish that to be his urine. We passed out of him pure and the cure. Man, how beautiful. How beautiful. Full. You Muslims are full of it. I mean shit, literally. You wish to be urine of Muhammad? I can guarantee you that. Imam al-Suyuti. You know, guys, I'm going to make other video about this. What do you think? Muslims wish to be the urine of the Prophet. Is that good? I think this is a good topic. Let us get the video here short, because this is too much shit will kill you. Excuse my language. This is the topic, you know. This is literally our topic, you know. I mean, literally, physically, you know. You are just lucky you don't smell it, you know. So we will make a video, a separate video about wishing, the Muslim wish to be the piss of the Prophet, and we will make your wish be true. I have connection. Very strong connection. I'm an Arab. Allah speak only Arabic. The poor Zakir Naik, in order to pray to Allah, he have to use Google Translation. I can talk to Allah right away. Let me call him. The Arab, they call Allah 5 times a day, in case you do not know. Yeah, I'm telling you. The phone is ringing, sorry. Ah, I forgot. Allah never answer. Okay. Leave your voice message. Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir-Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina as-siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladina an'amta alayhim wa ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. Ameen. Hang up. Then you have to call him again 5 times a day. Tadadun, tadadun. Tadadun, tadadun. I forgot to tell you. Allah never answer. Leave your voice message. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. Boom. Hang up. Okay. I'm getting tired. We have to call him 5 times a day. Okay, this is the 3rd time. Tadadun, tadadun. Tadadun, tadadun. Tadadun, tadadun. Tadadun, tadadun. Tadadun, tadadun. I forgot to tell you, Allah never answer. Leave your voice message. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Maliki Yawm ad-Din. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. Hang up. I hope the voicemail of Allah will not be full by now. There's more than 1 billion Muslims saying the same stupid message every day 5 times. Okay, I have to call Allah again. It's time. If I'm late, he will not. The voice message will not open. Okay. Tadadin, tadadin. Tadadin, tadadin. Tadadin, tadadin. Tadadin, tadadin. I forgot to tell you that Allah never answer. Leave your voice message. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. Man, I have one more call to make. I'm 90 years old and I have to call Allah 5 times a day, otherwise he will be upset. Upset. You don't want to make God up and set like the cowboy when they ride the wild horse, up and set. Okay, what the time now? Okay, I have to do it right now, immediately. Excuse me, guys. All right. Tadadum, tadadum. Tadadum, tadadum. Sorry, my energy is gone. So that tadadum even is gone too. Tadadum, tadadum. Tadadum, 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 tadadum. I forgot to tell you that the voice, Allah never answer, only voice message. Leave your message. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. I want to sleep, please, I'm tired. Maliki Yawm ad-Din. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. Please leave me alone. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم. I'm losing my heart. I cannot talk no more. ولا الضالين. I mean, finally. Otherwise Allah will punish me. He will send 990 dragons. Each one of them have 9 heads, would go inside my anus. I mean, the biggest companion of the Prophet Muhammad, his name is Enos. The Muslim in Arabic, they say it's Anas. And in English, it look anus, you know? Anyway. So guys, imagine they have a stupid religion. You have to pray to him 5 times a day. It's not like, you see, they say to Jesus how we pray. He said, if you are praying, pray like this. But he just gave us an example what our prayer should be about, not to be selfish, to forgive to others. Not only to us to be forgiven. It's a beautiful prayer, but you pray as you wish. Those stupid Abdul, they don't speak the language, and they have to make a sound. A sound they don't understand what it's saying. I know there's many Chinese here, they know what I'm talking about. I just said, leave me alone, all right? Because this guy Bruce, they keep calling me. You know, he want to convert us now. Too late. So, calling your God, saying the same, imagine you have a son, he call you 5 times a day. And he say exactly the same word, which is not even his. This is your words. How smart. How amazing. And how beautiful. My video, I welcome all Abdul in the world to answer, including the short, the tall, the fat, and the skinny. Including the one who says, why we have to understand, why we have to be logical. Who you think you are.
What problem? And we apply this into our day-to-day life. I have to understand this logically. Who do you think you are? I mean, how arrogant you must be to say, I need to know everything. SubhanAllah, who do you think you are?
Stupid Muslims, who you think you are. Shame on you. A bunch of donkeys. I will make a book and I will call it Who You Think You Are. Huh? When you talk to Christian Prince, you better look for a hide. The same when the Israeli come to you. Dig your tunnel. Delete your channel. Or deal with your final destination. Thank you all for being here. May the Lord bless you. We will try to make shorter videos because people complain about having my videos so long. Feel free to download them. My videos for free. Sometime we play a video. People complain about the previous one. We have ads. But this is not my choice. I don't get money from YouTube. I don't play ads. I don't have super chat, as you see. But YouTube, when you use somebody, like especially if in music of some companies, they force ad on your channel. It's not my choice, all right? So don't complain if you see such a thing. You always go to every channel, everybody have ads to make money, except me here, right? So, like the only place we have ads is in Rumble. So if you are in YouTube and you see an ad, then you should know that I use somebody like in music, and use maybe news agency, news, we play a video, and this video is considered copyrighted for YouTube. So then they force ads on your channel. What you can do about it? The only way to delete it, to delete the whole video. So can't you have patience? What you can do? This is how it is. I don't own YouTube, but I will not let YouTube own me. This is why I don't have ads on it, because those YouTube are very bossy. They will tell you what to say, what you cannot say. The second you make money from them, they start giving you emails warning you. You cannot say that. You cannot do that. And we are not for sale. Are we? We will not let the liberals in YouTube to control us, or the Muslims, and to warn us what we can say or what we cannot say. If you get paid by somebody, he's your boss. Do I agree? And if you bow down to money, you will lose your dignity, unless the God is your provider. I mean to that. So I want to say thank you all for being here. May the Lord bless you, and always remember that God is good, so is Jesus, and we are the crusade. See ya.